Hey there, comedy fans. Welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're stepping into the wild, wacky world of British humour with the legendary The Benny Hill Show. Known for its slapstick sketches, cheeky double entendres and unforgettable chase scenes, this iconic programme entertained millions across the globe for decades. But how much do you really know about what went on behind the scenes? We're uncovering the secrets that made Benny Hill a household name. So pour a cup of tea and let's chase through 20 things you never knew about The Benny Hill Show. The show first aired in 1955 and over the course of 11 seasons strangely moved back and forth between rivals, the BBC and ITV. However, it is best remembered for its Thames Television incarnation on ITV, which ran from 1969 to 1989. In the early 1970s, ITV's colour technicians went on strike, resulting in all shows produced during this period, including this one, being recorded in black and white. The strike continued until the spring of 1971, meaning 3 episodes were made in this format. Several sketches from these episodes were later remade in colour. By the late 1970s, edited half-hour versions of The Benny Hill Show, reduced from its usual hour-long slot, were exported to the United States, where Hill's success was immediate and extraordinary. Because these American broadcasts were cut, much of the more risque material was removed to appease the moral guardians. Throughout his television career, Hill performed impersonations and parodies of numerous celebrities. Some great British ones included Shirley Bassey, Michael Caine and Michael Parkinson. Across the pond he did Orson Welles, renamed Orson Buggy, Kenny Rogers, Marlon Brando and Raymond Burr, to name a few. He also spoofed fictional characters ranging from the $6 Million Man and Starsky and Hutch to the A-Team, parodied as the B-Team, in which he played both Hannibal and B.A., as well as Cagney and Lacey. Over 90% of the material, both musical and scripted, was written by Benny Hill himself, and he often took on directing duties for the show. Although the programme had 7 producer-directors over its 20-year run, 6 of them within the first 9 years, it is widely recognised that Hill, beyond his roles as star and writer, effectively acted as an unofficial director, despite never receiving formal credit for this role. Bob Todd, a regular on the show, was dismissed by Hill in 1976 after he failed to appear at a concert at the London Palladium due to a drinking episode so severe that he woke up 5 days later in a Dublin hospital. 4 years later, Dennis Kirkland persuaded Hill to rehire Todd, emphasising both his significance to the show and the fact that his drunkenness seldom interfered with his performances. Despite pushing the boundaries of acceptable comedy, The Benny Hill Show soared in popularity. By 1977, it was broadcast in over 100 countries and attracted an audience of over 21 million viewers in the UK alone. In Spain, the programme gained popularity in the early to mid-90s, with the launch of commercial television stations. Telecinco, in its early years, relied heavily on imported programming, and The Benny Hill Show was typically broadcast for 60 to 90 minutes each evening before the news. In 1977, Hill produced a special in Australia, the content of which was later incorporated into various half-hour syndicated episodes in the US. The cast of the Australian special included Barry Otto and Ron Shand. Hill's unapologetic locker room style of humour often had audiences at home doubled over with laughter. Yet just as many viewers were scandalised by his audacious jokes. His risque gags and gallant comedic style were considered excessive by some, prompting a wave of complaints. In response, Hill took an unexpected approach. He began incorporating children into his sketches, hoping that their innocent, carefree laughter would soften the adult humour. Hill maintained an unflinching commitment to authenticity and refused to hire child actors who would simply laugh on cue. Instead, he preferred the children of the television crew working on his sets, believing their reactions to be both more genuine and reliably predictable. By the late 1980s, Hill's show was in steady decline. While his sense of humour remained unchanged, the world around him had shifted. As social attitudes evolved, audiences grew weary of his suggestive jokes, creating a widening gap between him and his viewers, and sparking controversy within the comedy world. In 1987, comedian Ben Elton criticised Hill, claiming that his comedy had fostered a harmful culture towards women. Elton reportedly said that in Britain, women could no longer walk safely in a park, which he found deeply troubling. The criticism proved even more unsettling for Hill. Yet despite the growing opposition to his style, many of his fans and members of the public rallied in his defence. GQ magazine also came to Hill's support, likening Elton's accusation that Hill was responsible for societal decline to blaming pianists for elephant poaching. Nevertheless, not everyone shared the magazine's perspective. Television censors had grown increasingly weary of Hill's risque humour. A censor reportedly commented that the convention was becoming increasingly offensive and that it was no longer amusing to see half-clothed women being chased across the screen by a lecherous old man. Thames Television, which had profited immensely from the Benny Hill show, abruptly dismissed Hill amid mounting pressure from the political correctness lobby. Another contributing factor was the show's declining ratings and soaring production costs, which had reached £450,000 per episode, equivalent to over £1 million today, making it increasingly difficult for Thames to justify continuing its production. After his unexpected dismissal, Hill took a break in 1990, returning the following year with Benny Hill's World Tour. The new venture was intended to see him travel the globe, performing sketches in countries where his show had been particularly popular. Unbeknownst to many, it would mark Hill's final television appearance. The Benny Hill Show became one of television's most successful programs, and in turn made Hill one of the highest paid stars on TV. Yet his wealth was far from obvious. Despite his enormous fortune, Hill was notoriously frugal, to the point of obsession, and his penny-pinching extended beyond himself, affecting those around him as well. A striking example of Hill's extreme thriftiness involved his own mother. Although he remained close to his parents, he reportedly allowed her to struggle, allegedly refusing to pay to repair a leak in her house simply to avoid the expense. In April 1992, Benny Hill suddenly vanished from public view. Friends and colleagues had not heard from him, and concern grew when a neighbour detected a foul odour emanating from his flat. Hill's agent, Dennis Kirkland, climbed a ladder to look through a window and found the comedian's body slumped on the sofa, surrounded by unwashed dishes, tapes and papers. He had died of coronary thrombosis at the age of 68. He was buried at Hollybrook Cemetery in Southampton on the 28th of April 1992. His fortune, which was in the many millions, was bequeathed to his parents. However, as they had long predeceased him, the inheritance passed to 7 nieces and nephews he barely knew. In a grim twist, grave robbers broke into his coffin later that year, believing it contained golden jewellery. Finding nothing, they left empty-handed, and Hill's coffin was subsequently reinforced with a concrete slab to prevent further disturbances. At its height, The Benny Hill Show was one of the most watched programs in the world. He won many awards over the years, including a BAFTA Television Award for Best Writer in 1972. After his death, the many awards he had won were discovered stuffed in a box in his basement, indicating they had little significance for him. In a similar fashion, regular cast member Jackie Wright was found to have a collection of uncashed royalty checks from reruns, which his sister uncovered in a drawer following his death. The show's theme tune, Yakety Sax, which has developed its own cult following, was composed by James Q. Spider Rich and performed by Boots Randolph. A 2015 UK poll ranked the show's theme song as the nation's favourite. Of the 32 BBC episodes broadcast between 1955 and 1968, only 14 are known to survive in full, with fragments of a further 2 still in existence. The first 11 episodes, aired live from 1955 to 1958, were never recorded at all, while 3 episodes from 1961 and 2 from 1968 were either never recorded or, if they were, the recordings were subsequently wiped. A video game adaptation was made for the ZX Spectrum, programmed by Don Priestley. It brought the chaotic humour of the iconic television series into the digital realm, allowing fans to experience Benny Hill's slapstick antics in an interactive format. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about the Benny Hill Show. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.